Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Maricar Sison and welcome to our course, Methods of Research. Today we're going to discuss one of the important components of the research process, and that is the review of related literature and studies.
The word related means legal basis, literature, and studies that have a direct bearing or relation to the present study, according to Calmorin in 2016. The word review means that the research goes over the materials, books, journals, articles, theses, dissertations, and internet presentations. The purpose is to determine what has been written about the problem. The word related means similar, especially on the problem dimension, according to Almeida et al. 2016. The purpose of the review of related literature and studies is to inform the reader about what already is known, what is not known or research blank spots or unexplored areas, and blind spots or the conflicting areas in the literature, according to Almeida et al. In 2016. In the research paper, thesis, dissertation, and research project, related literature review is divided into three parts. These are the related legal basis, related literature, and related studies. The major sources of related legal basis are laws, department directives such as circulars, orders, memoranda, etc. They all serve as legal basis for the paradigm of the study. Now look at the given illustration for the related legal basis. Suppose the present study is environmental awareness of college students at Nueva Ecija University of Science and Technology. The related legal basis of the said study is the Environmental Awareness and Education Act of 2006, Republic Act No. 9512, in compliance with the state's policy of protecting and advancing the people's right to a balanced and sustainable ecology, and in recognition of the crucial role of the youth and education sector in nation building, both public and private schools including barangays, daycare, preschool, non-formal technical vocational, professional indigenous learning, and out-of-school youth courses or programs are now mandated to incorporate environmental education into their curricula on all levels. Next is related literature. When we say literature, it is any written materials published in a book, journal, magazine, novel, poetry, yearbook, and encyclopedia. Related literature is also called conceptual literature. The different variables used in the study are the focus of the literature searched. The related literature in a research paper cites the sources such as published books with ISBN and journals, magazines, novels, and poetry with ISSN. So look at the illustration for the related literature. Suppose the present study is the environmental ethics of STEM teachers at public secondary schools. The related literature are as follows. According to Ozer and Kellis in 2016, teachers must remind their students of their environmental responsibility and raise awareness. In order to achieve this level of consciousness, teachers must become even more knowledgeable than students. Kellis, Ozum, and Vamichi Ozun in 2010. They should show knowledge of ethical approaches to environmental issues. They should be exposed to many innovations to become globally competitive, according to Sison in 2012. The given here are published research papers, both local and international. The studies of Ozer and Kellis are all published in an international journal, while the study of Sison is published at a local journal at NEUST. Next is related studies. Published and unpublished related studies are sources of materials that are included in this section. These are in the form of theses, dissertations, or journals articles. They are segregated as foreign or local studies. Local studies are researches conducted and completed in the Philippines, wherein the subject of the study are Filipinos. Even the researchers are foreigners, fall on local studies. For foreign studies, these are researches conducted and completed outside the Philippines. Even the researcher is a Filipino, is considered a foreign study, according to Calmorin in 2016. The presentation of related studies is arranged in chronological order from recent to the oldest. Each related study, local or foreign, has explanation to the relevance of the present study. It is unscientific if no explanation is given. Now look at the given illustration for the related studies. For foreign studies, teacher identify a number of obstacles to environmental education in this province, including insufficient teacher training, scarce teaching resources, inadequate funding, and lack of time, according to Aral and Spruce in 2001. For local studies, majority of students have favorable attitudes towards science and environment, and there is a significant relationship between environmental sensitivity and attitudes towards science and the environment, according to Sebastian in 2002. According to Calagos in 2015, here are tips before going onto the internet in searching or looking for related research articles. First, list the major variables in the study. Oftentimes, students type the entire topic into the search engine. The effect, for example, the effect of remedial classes to the retention of information of grade 9 students. This is an error for two reasons. First, if the research study has already been conducted, there is no need for it to be repeated. Second, it is highly unlikely that a study that was closely related to this topic will use the exact same words, and the search engine is not smart enough to pick up slight variations. Instead, the key variables, such as remedial classes or information retention, are the keywords to be put in the search boxes in the databases. Another tip is list synonyms for each variable. Other researchers may have conducted similar studies, but use different terminology to describe the variables. For example, remedial classes. It may also be called enrichment classes, review classes, or even tutorial sessions. Researchers who write on enrichment classes will provide information that is quite useful to study on remedial classes. So these synonyms can also be used to search in the databases. The third tip is spend time outlining the major points to be made in the literature review. So this will help provide focus to the literature review and avoid plagiarism. Next tip is do not limit your search to only studies that examine all of the same variables. So most research studies will examine multiple variables such as physical development, social development, cognitive development, moral development, emotional development, and early childhood education. You should find a handful of studies about social development, a few about emotional development, a few about early childhood education, and so on. The research studies that you are searching for do not have to include all the variables. The next tip is use quotation marks for key phrases. If you enter remedial classes in a search box, then the words remedial and classes can appear anywhere in the document. However, if remedial classes in quotation marks is entered into the search box, then remedial and classes must always be together in the exact order. Next tip is, when searching online, use the limit function to decrease searches that have too many results. Typing remedial classes into a database will provide thousands of hits because much research has been conducted on this variable. Instead of wading through thousands of articles, limit the search to only articles you are interested in. Perhaps you are interested in remedial classes among college students. You can limit the search by also requiring the word college students to be in the article. You may also limit by the population you are interested in, such as age, gender, or ethnicity. Next tip is do not cite Wikipedia as a source. Anybody can edit articles on Wikipedia. Therefore, Wikipedia should never be used as a source for an academic paper. The last is use the resources you have to find additional resources. Suppose you read an article and from that article, you look at the given references or bibliography. So you can also use those resources or those bibliography or references from the given article. So now let us proceed to databases. The following are internet databases that search published academic work. According to Calagwas, here are the academic search engine. For the academic search engine, number 1 is iSeek Education. Next is RefSeek Virtual LRC or the Virtual Learning Resources Center. Next is the Academic Index, Linked, Digital Library, OLSTER, Internet Public Library, Microsoft Academic Search, Google Correlate, Wolfram Alpha. For books and journals, here are the databases. Number 1, WordCat, Google Books, Skirus, HighBeam Research, Vadio, Open Library, Online Journal Search Engine, Google Scholar, BioLine International, Springer Linked, Directory of Open Access Journals, and Journ. You can also use other references. These are the Merriam-Webster Dictionary and Thesaurus, References.net, Codes.net, Literary Encyclopedia. Other niches such as the PubMed, Texas, Circumpolar Health Bibliographic Database, Education Resources Information Center or ERICT, Medline Plus, and Artcyclopedia. Okay, so if you're going to use Google Scholar as your database and you type the keywords or paste remedial classes, you will see that there are many articles that will be shown in your browser. The same is also true when you use the Education Resources Information Center or ERIC. When you type the keywords or phrases, remedial classes, you will also see that there are many articles or published materials that will be shown in your browser. Actually, in the ERIC collection, you will find bibliographic records of education literature, as well as a growing collection of full-text resources. Some of these articles are not free, so it means that you can only view the article by purchasing the article in a given or in a journal. So some of these are expensive, so I advise that you only download a free file or a free article, or you just read the research abstract since it will give you the summary of the article and you can use it in your review of related literature and studies. That's all for now. Thank you for listening and keep safe.